Hi everyone, I am Ismail Karatepe, Graduate School Coordinator at the International Center for Development and Decent Work. I'm happy to be with you again with this video. Well, we have a guest today who is quite known to ICT network. We are glad to have Professor Dr. Christoph Scherer. He is an economist and political scientist. Well, as you might have known, he is Professor of Globalization and Politics and Executive Director of the International Center for Development and Decent Work. Well, thank you for being with us. Well, he has supervised several PhD theses and please correct me if I am wrong, and quite a lot of master theses. Professor Scherer, we have a lot of questions for you, but let me start with this very central question of us. Why is it important to relate a theory with data and a case?
Well, I believe we should start thinking about why theory is important. And I would say that it helps us to make sense of a rather complex world. It highlights specific relationships between events and helps us to think about causality. But it is also important that you move beyond your case and your single data to a more abstract level that relates to other people, other people's work, because what you should do is to contribute to the academic knowledge.
But coming back to the question, can you explain its linkage with data and a case?
Well, I have seen a number of theses that start out with a wonderful theory chapter, because everyone knows one needs a theory chapter. But then the theory that is presented is not really related to the case. And then, of course, at the end, you cannot really relate your case to the theory, and you are not really contributing then to academic knowledge. And other people will not be really interested then in what you do. So what you need to do is really to try to link your theoretical approach to your case and then reflect back on it.
But then this question rises, what should I do when I identify a theory for my PhD research?
Well, once you have settled on a theory, which is probably not so easy, then of course you should make yourself familiar with the theory. Especially you should know its key claims, but also the level of abstraction and its reach in terms of time, space, and in terms also of the object you are looking at. And the theory then would be used by you as the first step to give an answer to your research question. You try then, in a way, to apply the insights of the theory to your case before you actually do the research, but that you have a general understanding what kind of causality you might find or not. And then when you go into your case, you do the field study, then you might have to revise your original assumptions.
As you know, International Center for Development and Decent Work is a truly interdisciplinary center, and we have students from different disciplines. And this makes this question quite important. What is then the difference between quantitative and qualitative research in this regard?
Well, in the field of quantitative research, where you are making use of a big pool of data, you are usually then trying to test a theory. And that requires from you to be extremely specific concerning your causal claims, what you really want to find out. And you need then to find indicators for these. And that might not always work so easily. So let me give a little example. You say that the social status might influence someone's behavior. And as an indicator for the social status, you would take then income. But income might not really measure your social status. It doesn't measure the wealth or your social capital, how many links to the other people you have around you, how well you are established in a community, and so on. Therefore, if you do this kind of quantitative work, you really have to be very careful concerning the representativeness of your indicators for the concept you want to test.
Well, nowadays we heard this term so often. Grounded theory. What about grounded theory? Does it not place theory building at the end of the research process?
Yes, some students have come to me and wanted to go into the field immediately and then draw from the field and build a theory. And in anthropology, this was a major step, because it started out that people had preconceived ideas about indigenous communities and were looking at the indigenous communities through these kind of eyes. And so the idea was to kind of get out of that and really immerse into the different culture and observe, and then slowly develop ideas of how things are fitting together in these communities. But most of the social science research nowadays is about rather familiar things that are not Amazon indigenous communities, which are outside of our world. And therefore, we can expect that a lot of people have already thought about it. And that's kind of my first point, that you want to contribute to the stream of academic knowledge creation. And therefore, you should start looking at theories and how they might actually explain the phenomena you are looking at.